Alright, so we're going to cover a couple of turns of actual play today. We're going to go through a couple sample rounds, just so how you know how the game is played. I'm going to pretend everything's shuffled up. I don't remember if I've actually shuffled or not. So we're just going to go quick shuffles here. On this side we have Hero deck. This side we have Villain deck. And these are the common resource cards, the resource deck, that is shared amongst both guys. This is the start of the turn marker. It's a little meeple here. We'll roll to see who goes first. It's 5, so it's going to be the villains who go first. So they're going to get the start of the turn guy. And what we're going to do is we're going to do everything. We're going to do the start up. At the start of every round, 4 cards are set aside out of the resource deck that are shared for everyone. Again, keep in mind, not all the art's done. It's about 50% through. And then each player is going to draw a hand of 4 cards also. So, that's the draw phase. Draw phase is always setting aside 4 new cards for the resource deck, and each player is going to draw a hand of 4. So, this is what the villain deck drew. So, we're just going to go through this turn. He's got 3 of the heroes. He's got Natural Disaster, Fred the Talking Potato, and the Excrementalist, which I can't believe no one has ever used that name before, by the way. And also a Reinforcements card. Reinforcements is good for saving an injured character, but you also use it to acquire cards from the resource deck. So that's what we're going to use this for. They're going to acquire Kung Fu Jones, which is a pretty powerful character, but he's also high value, so the more powerful the character is, the more they also cost you if they get defeated. So that also goes into the discard pile. And play passes back and forth. So now we're going to look at the hero cards, the hero deck's draw. Couple copies of Chill Factor, Police Officer, and Bert. So Chill Factor can do damage, but they can also acquire a card. So we're going to acquire a card here. We're going to take one of these 8th Dimensional Invaders. That goes into the discard pile. So goes back to the villain deck. There's no fight phase. There's no fighting the first round of play, so you can kind of try and grab a few cards earlier. In fact, all of these cards will also allow, you can play them as characters, but all of these cards will also allow you to grab one from the middle. So that's what they're going to do. I'm going to use Fred the Talking Potato for his play effect and acquire 1 card from the resource pool. I'm going to take this one. Hero deck, I can snag the last one, or I can start playing cards in my party. So it's a pretty good card, but I'm going to start playing a card in my party. I'm going to play Bert. I can play him like this. He's got 8 hit points. He's the tankiest character of all these starting characters. So I've been using 10-sided dice to keep track of their hit points, so he gets an 8. Play passes back to the villain deck. And villain deck decides to put the Excrementalist out. He's got 7 hit points, so 7 on him. This is going to be the front row, and this will be the support row. There's 3 front row positions and 2 support row positions. It's a little cramped right now because I'm trying to show you guys everything from both sides. So play passes back to the hero deck. I'm going to put Chill Factor in the back row. She does a lot of damage, but she only has 4 hit points. So we're going to protect her. The support row is generally a little harder to damage than the front row, so you can kind of protect guys back there. Same thing for Natural Disaster. She does a lot of damage, but she needs to be protected. She only has 3 hit points, so we're going to put her in the support row too. You'll notice some of them also have passive abilities. Bert, for example, has damage resistance. That says DR1. I know it's probably impossible to read from this distance, but that means damage reduction 1. Every time he takes damage, he reduces it by 1. Natural Disaster's a little bit different. She ignores the first damage every time she takes damage in the fight phase. So that kind of mitigates the fact she only has 3 hit points. Going to play the Police Officer in the final slot, support slot. So the hero deck support slot's now full. So that's the end of the first round. Again, there's no fight phase. Normally after you have the draw phase, the play phase, and then the fight phase. Now we're in cleanup. Normally, if you had any cards left over, you would discard them. The resource deck, there's one card that wasn't acquired, so that goes to that discard pile. And then we look at 4 new cards. Ooh, not all quite characters. Player's going to pass to the hero deck, and then both the hero deck and the villain deck are going to draw 4 cards. Alright, so hero, 3 police officers, and Zhang, who's good in the front row. He's a good fighter. But the police officers, they're kind of the PUDs, the generic guys. Henchmen are the generic guys in the villain deck. Their ability is if you have 3 of them, you can actually play one, discard the other ones, and draw a card directly from there. So normally when you acquire from the resource deck, it goes into your discard pile. But these, a couple of cards will actually allow you to draw directly from the top, so you actually get it in your hand and you can still play it that turn. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the play effect on him. Discard all police officers in your hand. If you have discard 2 or more, you get to draw from the top of the resource deck. So I do have 2 or more. So I'm going to draw this card, which is a secret weakness. This one's kind of a mixed blessing, because this game is about running the other person out of cards. It does give the other person a card, but it's a completely dead card. So it just goes into the opposing player's pile, and it just sits there. The reason that really sucks is you only get 4 cards, and if you draw into that, 25% of your hand is a dead hand. So it's just a completely dead card. But it does give them an extra card in their pile. So that was that. Oh, actually, villains can do the same thing. They have 3 henchmen, which is kind of the again the generic guy. So they're going to do the same thing. They're going to play, discard 2, and then draw. Malediction, the Duck Pope. Sorry, placeholder art. That's my quick doodle there. So that was their turn. They're going to play. Heroes are going to play Zhang in the front row. He's got 5 hit points. Villains are going to play the Mime in the front row. Hero deck is out of cards, and so the villain deck goes again. And play Malediction in the back row. So sorry, these are kind of squished in on each other, but I want you guys to be able to see everything. So that's the end of the play phase. Everyone's out of cards. You can also pass, but if you pass, you cannot come back in. But everyone played out. So now we're going to move on to the fight phase. So the hero deck, again, their first player, they get to go first. And in fact, there are a lot of really good cards out there that didn't get acquired, and they're going to go away at the end of the turn. So we're going to go first. Bert's going to go up first. It says 1 damage here, but we've actually changed that to 2. So he's going to attack. So some of you are familiar with tapping, exhausting, or disabling, where you use the character and to indicate that it's been used for the turn, you turn it sideways. So Bert's actually going to attack the Excrementalist, punches him for 2. So the Excrementalist goes down from 7 to 5 hit points. And his ability is he kind of has a taunt. He forces that person to attack Bert back. So the Excrementalist, it's the villain's turn, but because of his taunt ability, the Excrementalist has to go next. And what he does is he targets Bert with all his attacks, again, from the taunt ability. But Bert soaks it all. Excrementalist actually does 3 damage, but he does it 1 damage at a time. And again, as we mentioned earlier, Bert soaks 1 point of damage, so he soaked 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. So he takes 0. So sadly for the villains, that was their turn, and the heroes get to go again. Chill Factor, we're probably going to use her next here. While she's in the support row, she can either do 3 to a front row target, or she can do 2 to the back row. So, not sure how much I care about the back row. This guy's pretty dangerous in the back row, though, so may need to kill him. So that's... But this guy's also really nasty. I don't want the Mime to go, because he's actually going to disable a guy, so I'm actually going to go first with Zhang. And I'm going to attack the Mime for 4. So, ouch. Got a couple of choices here. Mime's going to die, probably, so on the hero turns next turn, so you want to use the Mime, so Mime's going to go next. He attacks for 3 and then 1. The second one actually disables as well. And he's going to do 3 back to Zhang, and then he's going to do another 1 and disable. Fortunately, Zhang's already disabled, so he's still got to go. But if he hadn't already gone, it would have disabled him and he couldn't be used this turn. So that's their turn. Hero Deck's turn. Police officers and henchmen when in the back row, they can attack any target. So he's going to finish off the mime. So the mime just had 1 hit point left. He gets defeated. Again, that's where the card value comes into play. When one of your characters is defeated and they have a positive card value, you lose that many cards permanently from the top of your deck. That's known as banishing. So he has a value of 2, and villain deck's going to lose 2 cards off the top. A copy of the henchman and experimentalist are gone from the game. Goodbye. The mime has a spite power though. Whoever kills him takes a point of damage. So that's going to be this police officer. This police officer goes away. Sorry, police officer. Now it's the villain deck's turn. Natural disaster is going to go here. A natural disaster actually does 2 damage to the entire front row. And it's going to move from left to right. There's actually an empty front row spot, but you're going to have 3 people in your front row. So we're going to resolve this. So it's 2 damage to Bert. He soaks 1. So he's going to be at 7. Zhang, unfortunately, only has 1 hit point left, so goodbye, sir. And again, most of the starting heroes and villains have a value of 2. So the hero deck's also going to lose 2. Vasilisa and Johnny Pyro. Goodbye, guys. And there's also going to be 2 unassigned damage here in this empty slot, because there are 3 slots. You know, Bert took 2, Jean took 2. Well, Bert only took 1 because he soaked 1. But the empty slot is also going to get damage for 2. And how that's resolved is it mills or takes cards off the top of your library, so it drills through your cards. So that's 2 points of unblocked damage. Know that Vasilisa and Johnny Pyro, they're not removed from the game, but they do go to the discard pile. Because every time you reshuffle, you lose another card permanently. You banish another card from the top of your library, so hitting them for unblocked damage is going to hurt too, because what's going to happen is you're going to slowly drill through all those cards. Chill Factor is going to go here. She can either do 3 to the experimentalist, or she can do 2 to the back row. Natural Disaster is going to soak some of that, though, but she ignores the first time she takes damage. So she's probably going to maximize 3 damage here. Malediction, though, he's a scary guy in the back row. Maybe I should have done 2 to the back. But he can actually do 4 to 1 target. He only has 3 hit points, though. And he's actually going to do 4 to Chill Factor and KO her. And again, she has a value, too. So Hero Deck's going to lose Police Officer and Dr. Cat. Goodbye, Dr. Cat. That is the end of the fight phase, because all the parties have gone. And basically, you would untap or bring the characters back to or show they're ready again. Villain deck obviously did pretty well there, but this game is very swingy. It really depends on your draws, and again, we really didn't play too many of the characters for their play effects, because I just wanted you to have an idea of the game. Bert is also a beast. You still got 7 hit points and damage reduction, so the game would end if one party is defeated, or if the other deck completely runs out of cards. And again, every time you reshuffle your discard pile back in, you lose the top card from the game. So the longer the game goes, the more you're going to drill through, and that's why you want to acquire cards from the resource deck. But that is the first 2 turns. Just to finish up the cleanup phase, if they had cards to discard, they would discard. These go away. So many good cards go away because they were too busy beating each other up and playing cards to acquire. And that's kind of the balance, too. It's like, well, can I leave enough guys in my party and still net cards? So there's a lot to the game. You should always have some interesting choices. I hope you enjoyed that first look at a couple of turns of Hero Brigade.